Welcome into episode 481 of the BCJ Podcast, brought to you by our wonderful partners at the Holy Grail. The weather is getting warm, finally. You got Reds games, you got concerts, you got all sorts of stuff downtown. Head over to the Holy Grail. Ice cold Cincy Lights. I believe it's 50 cents of every can goes to Cincy Reigns. Great food, great drinks. Like I said, right by Great American Ballpark. Check those guys out. Help them out. Support those that support us. And, we're here with a guest co-host. Chad is in St. Louis at a concert of two people I could potentially name one song of. So we have Keegan Nickerson joining us after his long weekend in my old stomping grounds, Knoxville, Tennessee. Big weekend, lots of stuff happening in Knoxville. Keegan, thank you very much, first and foremost, for jumping in here and doing a little show with us.
Absolutely happy to do it. Chad, the workhorse, gets a night off with floor seats to Kendrick Lamar and SZA, and he even called Kendrick K-Dot to try to be very, very relatable to the young kids in his followers list. So I need you to name one Kendrick Lamar song.
Well, there's that one that he the beef song with Drake. Is that right? Is it Not Like Us, or is that
not
him?
Like, there's one. Okay, now get two.
I'm done.
He said, "There's that one."
I'm done.
But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Had a awesome time in Knoxville. And I really am looking forward to the continued development of UC's baseball program because I love covering postseason sports in college. So whether it's baseball, whether football can do it, whether basketball gets there, I'm really looking forward to doing more of that.
Well, let's jump right into it. Bearcats had the early game, 1:00 Friday afternoon against Wake Forest. Just kind of set the scene. I'm assuming it was your first time at the continually constructed upon Lindsey Nelson Stadium. I feel like that's been going on for quite some time, and they're still not done. But
yeah,
your thoughts on Lindsey Nelson Stadium and Tennessee baseball, and just kind of set the tone for that first game. Bearcats jumped out to a quick big lead. What was kind of the vibe going around inside the stadium in the press box as they jumped out big early?
Well, I think I expected them to go 1-2 on the weekend. I just didn't think they would go 1-2 in the fashion in which they did. I kind of figured they'd lose to Wake Forest, beat Miami, and then lose to Wake Forest or Tennessee, wherever they played on Saturday or Sunday, or the second game Saturday. And then you're going up against Blake Morningstar, who's one of the best pitchers in the ACC. He was a first-team selection. And he walked a good amount of people. I think a decent amount of it was after they had already put up 8 runs in 2 innings. And just how they were hitting him and putting pressure on him, and then especially seeing 2 true freshmen in Quentin Coates and Derek Pitts take him yard, that was something that was surprising to me. So it was kind of the perfect encapsulation of the best case scenario happening for UC because they played to their identity. They bunted, they forced fielding errors, they stole bases, and then you mix in a few home runs, and all of a sudden those small plays that got 1 to 2 runners on base are 3-run home runs, and it's a huge lead, and it just kills the spirit of the opposing team. And Tom Walton said after the game, I thought it was really funny. Didn't think what he got caught saying against it.
He didn't remember saying that. Which to me begs the question: how often do you say that if you don't remember saying that?
What a horrible statement. It's just a PR nightmare on that one.
I mean, they got like I don't want to veer too far off track, but like with watching UC's games and watching Tennessee play them, he seems like the most miserable person, and I don't know why anyone would want to play baseball for him.
Yeah, it was interesting, but he said after Friday's game, he was like, I mean, you look at the difference. We hit our home runs with nobody on base. They hit their home runs with like 2 people on base. So that's kind of the difference in the ball game when you look back at it. So that was a really, really fun game. And then Wake Forest made attempts to come back, but UC just continually they added runs when they needed them. Got really good relief pitching out of Adam Bukowski and I can't remember who came in. I think he closed the game.
Michael Conti.
Michael Conti pitched, and then a really gutsy outing by Nathan Taylor. That game kind of showed the potential of next season, because you look at Coates and Pitts, and you look at Nathan Taylor and Adam Bukowski all playing big roles in the game. Landon Vitterick, he played in that game. He stole a base. So that game should show promise for next year. And then they get to play Tennessee on Saturday. And that place, when Tennessee is playing, like I stayed for the Friday night game, and it was just bonkers. Because, I mean, there was maybe 1,000 people there for UC Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And then there was 6,500, 7,000 there for Tennessee, Miami of Ohio. I love the left field setup where they just have grills and like all the pods going down the fence and the porches. And then the seating there is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to that place being finished. And I'm going to try to go back down for a game at some point.
Yeah, it's as it stands, it's one of, if not, I won't say maybe it's one of the smallest stadiums in the league.
Yeah,
they're finally adding on to it, but there's not a lot of space there, as you saw. Like the stadium's
it's compact,
pretty locked in, and there can't be too much expansion. But like they're playing at Arkansas this weekend, and their stadium seats. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He said like 15,000.
Yeah.
So
and then you got Duty Noble and all those places. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an awesome environment, and then it kind of quickly got out of hand on Saturday. Kellen O'Connor, at the end of the day, pitched pretty well, maybe as good as he could have against a team like Tennessee when you're a lefty topping out at 90. And I just think the walks here and there killed him. And then you bring in Bukowski for 2 days in a row. First time he had thrown the day after throwing multiple innings. And then he walks, I think, 3 in a row. And from that point on, you're like, it's probably
you had to play. I mean, you got the top of their lineup. Tennessee's lineup is pretty awesome. And then, if Marcus Phillips is locating pitches, I'm not going to say he's as good as Liam Doyle, but I mean, the dude.
Yeah, he's a top 5, top 10 pitcher in the country when he's like that.
When you walk, I'm not saying UC had to play the perfect game, but like you can't walk almost double-digit guys and strike out 15 times and think you're going to beat Tennessee at Tennessee. I mean, I don't think they played all that bad.
No.
I mean, they were right there. I mean, they had the one that was 4-3, and then they gave up 4 runs to make it 8-3 or whatever it was, and they gave up 4 more again later on. But like up until that first 4-run inning, they were playing good. They were making aggressive plays. They were they're just not quite to. I mean, Tennessee lost a lot of guys off of last year's team, but they still brought a lot of guys back that won the national championship. And have two of probably the best, 5-7 arms in the SEC. So, and AJ Russell's really damn good too, and he hasn't even really played that much. So, coming back from Tommy John surgery. So, I mean, I thought they acquitted themselves quite well, and then I think the other, you can give more detail on it. I didn't get to see as much of the second Wake game, but I think that was just a case of 3 games in 3 days with a pitching staff that probably isn't quite built to go up against those kind of lineups 3 days in a row.
Yeah. And I just don't think their pitching staff was deep enough to have success in this kind of setup and this kind of atmosphere. And it's interesting because when you're a team like Wake Forest and like Tennessee, you're building your team to be as good as it can be. But if part of you is also probably thinking, how much success will this team have in a regional or super regional environment? Because, you're going to get there, and that's how you make your money. That's why Tony Vitello makes $3 million a year as a baseball coach, which is insane.
I think the biggest glaring difference to me, and we'll talk probably about it more, in that Wake Forest, in the second Wake Forest game, they had a pitcher that came in and threw, I think, 7 2/3.
Yeah.
And pitch lights out. And I think that is probably the biggest difference in that. And I'm not saying that was that kid all year, but just from the very basic stuff that I've watched, and you've watched him way more this year, I don't know if it's going to come from on the current roster or in the portal or something, but UC just didn't, UC's third guy wasn't going out there and throwing 7 2/3, regardless of opponent. And I think that's the biggest difference is they don't even really have a guy who you're like, well, if he's really on, then maybe we can get that type of a game out of him. Like the third game, they're right now, they're really scratching and clawing to put 9 innings together of pitching. I think that's probably the biggest difference in UC and where Wake Forest and Tennessee kind of are right now.
Yeah, the third guy was Carson Marsh, and the longest he had went this season was 4 innings against Kansas State. And looks like he got pretty hot at the end of the year. 4 innings scoreless against Kansas State, 3 innings, 1 run against West Virginia, and then obviously 2 1/3, 3 runs, 2 1/3, 4 runs against Wake Forest. Yeah. So I don't know if you can add 3 innings on your season high in one off season in terms of developing that kind of trait. What I will say is they probably expected Adam Marakic to kind of be that guy, because anytime you can get a guy basically out of a professional contract who was a first team all max selection when he was at CMU with Bishel, that's probably what you're hoping for. And the longest he went was 5 2/3 against BYU. And his season ERA was 6.15. So, I mean, he didn't have a horrible year. I think he was touching 90-91 when he threw in Knoxville, which is probably not where he was before they found some damage in his elbow, and it's why the Rangers wanted to kind of back off after he went through a physical after signing. So I think there was some stuff that might not have gone to plan, but I mean, we're also saying that, and they were able to put together a team that got to the postseason in just year 2, and they didn't really make that many massive additions. A lot of it was retaining who they already had and just kind of instilling that mindset of where they're supposed to be. So this offseason will be extremely interesting to me, because if they were able to get some guys like Jack Natili to come from Rutgers after year 1, it'll be interesting to see who is willing to join after year 2, in which they were able to show that they could get to the postseason and not only get there, but beat a team like Wake Forest and put themselves in a position to get to a regional final.
Yeah, I'll definitely be interested to just track kind of, is it I'm sure it won't be solely, but just the number of additions and how many of those additions are just from a pitching standpoint. How many of them are power arms that maybe you just feel like need some refinement. Because I mean, you watched it live. I mean, Liam Doyle and Marcus Phillips are just gassing dudes.
It was.
And,
I watched the last game on Monday.
Doyle comes in after pitching against Wake Forest and comes in and throws 99 in the ninth inning after the first base or third base coach tries to like slow play it. He's like, whatever, man, I'll just throw 99 by your dude.
I almost thought he was going to sign fastball and then throw it.
It's not. Sometimes it's not nuanced. Sometimes it's just we got a pretty good team, but we need some dudes that can just at times throw it by people.
Yeah.
And UC doesn't really have that, and I think that is where they need to probably go to maybe get out of them to get to a super regional. I mean, I think the nucleus and everything is there the way Bishel probably wants it. I mean, I can't imagine there's going to be many guys who he feels are true contributors that will move off of this team, seeing what they were able to do in year two, come back, So how can you add to it? And I think just, as many more power arms as you can get is probably the best bet. And you're obviously going to have to replace Carrington Cross, but good luck with that. But
can we talk about that trick play at third base?
Sure, I loved it.
It was awesome.
I mean, you gotta shake it up. I mean, good on the third base coach, like being totally alert of telling this guy not to go anywhere.
I also thought it was the perfect time.
Well, he was on the base path, stopping the runner.
Yeah.
The third base coach was on the base path, literally in the way. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, you're not in the play. So I mean, I think he was still kind of like straddling it, maybe. But I mean, the announcers said it perfectly. I mean, it's kind of like onside kicking coming out of halftime when you're an underdog. You've got to try to steal things here and there. Like good on them for trying it. I mean, you only get one shot at it. You're not going to be able to try that again. So,
yeah, it was also the perfect time because it's right after a really weird play in which everyone's probably thinking, how the heck is he on third right now?
Right.
And then you're still trying to catch your breath, and then maybe you get tagged out.
The only thing I wish they tried to sneakily hand the ball from the pitcher to the third baseman, so that when he does then take his lead, then Cross can run up and tag him. See if anybody noticed that part of it.
It wouldn't have been as like cinematic though as the fake throw over the bullpens diving all over the place. But it was funny because all the Tennessee fans were booing right when they did it, and I was like, if Tennessee tried to do that, they would go crazy being happy and celebrating. They would love it.
SEC baseball and just Southern baseball in general just feels like such an odd culture to me because it's so damn serious. And I'm like, there's no reason for it to be like this. And I mean, you had Wake's coach, you had Florida's coach getting all mad at the Coastal Carolina grounds crew and the timing of the game getting pushed back. I mean, which he then apologized for. I mean, these guys are just wound way too tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think going back to your thing about more power arms, I 100% agree. I would say to get out of a super regional, that's what they would probably need. But I think if you can get a decent draw into a regional, just that third starter and then another reliever who you can rely on to throw strikes would be the biggest thing for me. I don't know if you need Tennessee level arms, but you just need more guys who can get 7 innings and more guys who can come in tough spots and throw strikes.
Get into the 6th or 7th inning instead of into the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, half of the top 16 seeds didn't even make it out of the regional.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows if that's
It's
a
just
one-year
wild.
anomaly or whatever, but I mean, I really hated to see it for the Vandy boys. I mean, how whatever, but
I had a perfect setup. I told you before we came on the show, but I went to this bar called Half Barrel, and I was sitting at the bar. TV on the left, UTSA and Texas. TV on the right, Louisville and Vanderbilt. Both one-run games, and it was like you could be like, oh, there's a pitch. All right, I'll go to this game. There's a pitch. All right, I'll go back. And it was like the perfect setup. I stayed there for like an hour and a half just watching those two games. So yeah, I mean, this time of year is awesome, and it really makes me think about what a regional like at Cincinnati would be like. And if they're able to make that jump,
awesome.
They'd have to put in temporary seating in left field, I think, in the turf area. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know better than me. Like the Big 12, I won't say it's the same as football because I think it's better, but like the Big 12 is a good baseball conference, but it doesn't have the Vanderbilt, the Tennessee, the Oregon State. Like they don't have a powerhouse team. Like UC could absolutely build on this year and potentially finish higher in the conference, which would put them in a potential, higher place to maybe host. I mean, let's get to a 2. Let's go back again, get to maybe the 2 seed first. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all.
Yeah, I think West Virginia is close to being able to build to be that number 1 team. TCU's always dangerous, and then Arizona obviously had a really good year. So
TCU got stomped out last weekend.
It's definitely a winnable conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've just been that they've always got good players, draft picks. Yeah, I mean, it's
UC
definitely a winnable conference. And
they got the short end a little bit. I know Tennessee was the 14 seed, but that's not a 14 seed roster. They just had a pretty inconsistent SEC season.
Yeah, no. I think it was a good test, kind of setting up for if they're able to get back somewhere next year, then they can step into the stadium and be like, all right, we're not in Knoxville. So unless we're in Baton Rouge, Fayetteville, or
I don't know, Nashville.
I think that might be the only 2 atmospheres that I would challenge Tennessee.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe.
But no, it's a exciting season, and we talk pitching. I'm sure that won't be the only thing, but it'll be interesting just to see how many spots they truly have. I don't know anything about the incoming freshmen. I think it's probably a positive for them and positive for your recruiting when you do have guys like Pitts and Coates contribute as freshmen, and even have Jordan Bishel saying that I would have liked to have probably played them earlier. They were just, blocked by good players and then took advantage of their opportunities when they came. So, maybe some of these super young guys, these freshmen, will get a chance to come in and contribute next year as well. Do you know anything about the incoming group, or not really?
I know one because he goes to my alma mater.
Oh, okay.
Ben Vogley from Ross High School. He fits the mold of Cincinnati baseball in that he's a middle infielder, probably about 6'6", and really fast, steals a lot of bases, and makes contact a lot. I don't think he's going to be really a power hitter at all, but he goes to the same gym that I go to, and he would work out during the season. So I think he'll get to UC and put on 15 pounds of muscle, and then you never really know. So, but yeah, he's really an all-around.
Probably interested in knowing how his calves are if he works out at the same gym as you.
What, do you think I have good calves, Aaron?
No, not yours. He doesn't care about yours. He cares about the UC guy.
Calves?
Everybody takes one comment out of context and gets weird.
Oh, wait. You mean like you did with Emory Jones and me? Yeah, now you're getting the taste of your medicine. You said you took
Emory
it out of
Jones
context.
For Heisman.
If he plays his best possible football, what is he? Yeah, that really got me on a bad start with a lot of Cincinnati fans. That was like my first podcast I ever did.
There's no point in like towing the line when it comes to predictions.
I know.
Get out there, make a. I mean, there's no repercussions. I mean, I said they would one year that the football team was going to go undefeated, and they went 6-6. There were no repercussions to that. So,
yeah.
But no, I mean, I think it's I won't go as far as saying excellent season, but anytime you qualify for the tournament, it's a great year, especially in year two. You know, see what we bring back, see what we can add, and go at it in next year.
Yeah, that's another thing of like when you look at Cincinnati, the baseball team probably shouldn't ever be in the NCAA tournament. Like when you look at the grand scheme of things, in terms of what they've been able to accomplish through the history of the program, and you know, you're not in the South, you're not recruiting the South, so a lot of it is getting guys in that fit your culture, and then you have to develop them. Like it's a pretty hard road in order to build a team compared to, okay, this kid's 6'3", hits bombs and runs like a 6'7", 60-yard dash. You just add water, and then he's a first-round pick in 3 years, like a lot of teams can do in the Southeast. Look at the. I mean, I don't know how many of the teams. You know, I don't think outside of West Virginia, Oregon State. I mean, is anybody that's in the super regionals from like the Midwest or the North? I mean, you have like you're at a disadvantage. You know, not playing in cold weather games. I mean, they were talking about that on the announcers. I mean, they had a great announcing crew too. I don't know what Tennessee had to do to get the announcing crew they got. They had a great crew, gave UC a lot of compliments, just kind of talking about how they were talking home run numbers, and they were talking about how just, you know, the numbers are down because of the, you know, most teams in the first part of the year, they're playing these cold weather games. You're just not hitting home runs. And, you know, I'm interested to see how much, I know they can do work in the old bubble, but like how much does the new practice facility help baseball? Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And, you know, just there's a lot of momentum there, and be fun to watch them in the portal and see what they can do there. So, Aaron, do you Murray State, their miracle run through Oxford.
Yeah.
Louisville, and then West Virginia.
So
what?
Is he gone?
Did Chad get back to you, or did you message him or anything? Or
I got it.
There we go. Lock and load, buddy. It's your time to shine.
All right, it is. And that segment is brought to you by Turtles Brew. 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free.
Can you see him? Oh, Turtles Brew.
What's wrong with this guy? Bourbon-infused sweet tea. You can get your cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla, lemonade tea, and strawberry mint. It's available at over 50 locations in greater Cincinnati. Visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. And as always, a portion of proceeds go to saving the sea turtles. Let's go.
All right, so you've been at camp. We'll switch to football now. There have been some camps, correct? You've been at some camps. Man, you're just a busy man.
I have been to one camp
because that was yesterday, correct?
The first one was when I was in Knoxville, and then there was a camp yesterday, and then there was a specialist camp today that I didn't go to.
You didn't want to go watch the guys kick and punt?
But yeah.
What did you see?
Really.
What did you see in here? Anything worth talking about?
Didn't hear a whole ton. I think them getting Seneca Driver on campus for a camp, a 4-star tight end who I hadn't heard of him, but I looked him up after I was told that he was there, and I'm just scrolling his offer list. And it's like every school in the SEC and every school in the Big Ten coming after him. And you think, holy crap, how is this kid on campus at UC? Come to find out, like Josh Stepp, really close with Seneca Driver, and Maddox Hager, who's a 3-star tight end who also plays at Boyle County in Kentucky, who, if you're familiar with Kentucky football, apparently is just a machine that pumps out really good players. That's what Chad told me, at least.
Right.
They Step got both of them on campus and said, hey, come up for this camp. You don't even have to like work out or anything. Just come up and like hang out, see me kind of thing. So Seneca Driver gets there. He's like, you know what? I feel like putting on a uniform and working out. So he went through the entire camp. This kid's 6'7".
With just like
I think he might have ran a 4.7.
Tennis shoes on?
No, like he had cleats on and stuff. Like he had his attire. He had cleats. He ran like a 4.7 40, and running one-on-ones was like just massacring kids in the corner of the end zone, just winning jump balls and stuff. So it was really good to be able to see him. And then him and Maddox Hager were there. I think Seneca Driver said Bama, Texas, UC, and Ohio State. And then Maddox Hager said Wisconsin, UC, Ohio State, and a few other schools are kind of coming after him the most. Another under the name kid, a wide receiver from Marion, Indiana. I believe his name is Logan Barnes. Really, and then they had Ace Alston on campus yesterday as well, who's a corner from Anderson. He wasn't camping; he was just kind of there for a visit. So
he's a 27 kid, right?
Yeah, he's 2027, one of the better corners in Ohio, and is getting recruited by Ohio State. So seeing that relationship kind of blossom will be interesting, especially if they can get him on campus for a game, which I don't see a reason why they wouldn't be able to this upcoming season.
That's right. Yeah, I know his name has popped up a bunch in the Bearcat Journal feed. He's getting tons of offers. Camps are, I mean, if a guy earns an offer at a camp, that's certainly one to note. Other than that, they're just building relationships, seeing guys. The biggest thing is probably seeing some of these younger guys up close. I mean, they've probably been on maybe to a game or to a junior day or something, but it's seeing the younger guys in person, verifying heights and weights and stuff like that. So then official visits start this weekend. I think they're going to have 3 weeks in a row. You have put some names on the board, always subject to change. I believe it's around, 13 or so names. I want to say 4 of them are commits, 9 are then uncommitted players. obviously we're not going to tick through all of them. We're going to tell you guys to go to the board and read Keegan's writing and check that out there. But anybody in this first wave you're interested in seeing how the visit goes, think they, could potentially land? I know I have a couple guys that I'm keeping my eyes on. I like the offensive lineman. Tyler, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, is a very intriguing
Chukiyam
prospect, being that he is very young. I think he just turned 17 and has really started to get some recognition. Florida State, some bigger, quote unquote P4 blue bloods showing interest in him. They've been on him a long time. So see how that visit goes. JJ Bush, 4-star out of Alabama, I believe has visits planned with UC, LSU, Missouri, and somebody else, 4-star linebacker, and some other pretty highly recruited guys. So I mean, what are your thoughts on this first group and what you think may happen with them?
Yeah, I think it's a good group, all things put together. I like you said, I especially like JJ Bush. To be able to get a guy that is being pursued by Florida, Michigan, Miami, and LSU, not only on campus but for an OV is a pretty impressive thing. And then Matthew Ochapinti, linebacker. Anytime you can get someone from Don Bosco Prep, I think that's good, as we saw with Simeon Coleman and Monte Whedon coming from St. Joseph's, I can't remember where it is, St. Francis in Maryland. Those prep schools on the East Coast just pump out really, really talented football players. And I think going that route and kind of building those relationships with the coaching staffs and having those be your feeder schools is a really good idea. The one thing, this is maybe the fewest Georgia kids on a visitor list that I've ever posted. I think
well, they'll probably
Tyler
just fill up the next 2 weeks with them.
Yeah, I think Tyler Chukiyam might be the only one, but there's currently a massive NASCAR Cup Series filling up the top half of my screen, NASCAR Cup Series ad. So I can't see where the running back is from right now.
Memphis.
I don't know if you can see that or not. Memphis. Yeah. So, they're focusing a lot on Alabama as of recently, especially in the class of 2026. That's where Brooks Goodman is from. So that was pretty interesting to me. And I'm also really interested to talk to a lot of these guys, because especially some of the commits, because when they were able to commit, it was like a really busy season for what we were doing. So I wasn't able to get on the phone with them, and being able to talk about not only their commitment, but also the entire OV process. I'm looking forward to doing that. That's all subject to who is willing to talk to me and who gets back to me.
Right.
So I'll keep you guys updated on when that's coming around.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way recruiting goes anymore, I mean, they've got, what do they have, 7 commits right now? I think. Is that right?
Look.
Trying to 8 commits right now. They're going to have double digits more than likely all 3 weeks. I mean, your class is pretty much going to be done in the next 3 weeks. We've talked to Zach and Jack and those guys, and they always evaluate senior tape, and they always hold a couple spots. But anymore, like, guys are committed by the end of June. So the next 3 weeks, you got 8 guys now. If they probably had it, they're going to add 12 probably somewhere in that number over the next month. And then it's tough to gauge their numbers because they haven't really, say what you will, they haven't really lost many guys over the last couple of years. So, I don't know what the number. The number always seems to be the same every year, no matter what. That's the old
Loss as in like decommitted?
Joke Chad and I had was everybody would ask, how many do you think they're going to take in this class? Every school always. What's that? I'm sorry.
No, the connection is messing up. You said how many they lost. Did you mean decommitted?
I just mean like transferred out from the team the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
So,
so OBs will be fun, and I'm looking forward to.
I always find it to be a fascinating because looks like maybe both of our internets are being crappy. So
yeah, I'm gonna try to switch mine.
But I don't think we've talked since you will be attending potentially the grand unveiling of the new practice facility soon. What are I know you've been on a tour before, but what are your thoughts? What are you looking forward to getting in there when us media, I won't say us, I'm not really media, when you media types are shown around the finished product?
I think it's June 11th is when we're doing the ribbon cutting and unveiling. That I'm really looking forward to it because every time I've seen it, it's been different phases, but it was still very much unfinished. Like you could never really get a feel of what everything was going to kind of look like. So I think the inside of it should be completely done, and now the finishing touches are the gardening kind of around it, and then maybe the lockers might not be finished. That's a complete guess, but I would expect for it to be basically completely finished, and they're moving stuff in the next week because I know the finish date was May 30th. So I'd expect to see some coaches moving stuff in here soon. And then the ribbon cutting should be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to blow a lot of people away based off what you can actually get videos and pictures of, instead of just, this unfinished room is going to be the team room.
Right. This
unfinished room is going to be Coach Stat's office. This big dirt patch is the turf field. And while I'm taking a picture of the dirt patch, you can still see cars driving by on Jefferson Avenue. So I'm really looking forward to that, and kind of just relating back to like the first event I ever covered for UC was the groundbreaking ceremony for this. And now fast forwarding 2 years and 2 months, and now it's finished and we get to walk through it. So yeah, I'm really excited.
I always like to see what graphics do they pick, what cool little kind of intricate touches are you able to do, and just the reaction from the players, because they've come a long way from the none of these guys have lived it, but the old wooden lockers in the Nipper locker room, and then the game day locker room down, or the in-game locker room down on the field. Like, this locker room is gonna, even the new locker room, this locker room is gonna one up that. So be very fun to see and hear, and what those guys think about all that. So anything else football wise going on? I know, are you going to be attending more camps, or are you camped out? Is that are you one and done?
No, I think See, I have my freaking calendars mixed up, and I have like a Google and Apple calendar, and I put different stuff on each calendar. I think there's like 2 or 3 more camps that I'm gonna try to go to. There's a big man camp on the 11th, and then a QB and skills camp on the 10th, and then another one on the 17th, and then I get married on the 20th. So it's perfectly fit right before I get married. So it should be
early congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
When you went to camp the other day, did they let you go down into the middle of the field and talk to Sat during the camp?
You're just getting straight to the important questions.
Well, that's what Chad and I used to do with Vic. We would just walk down into the middle of the field and talk to him during the camp.
I don't think I have the same relationship with Sat as you guys had with Luke Fickle, so that's going to be that might be a year away. I'll try to do that
for you to strive for there.
Yeah. Don't you worry. The first camp Chad took me to, he walked straight to the middle of the field and talked to Sat, and I was like peeing my pants, scared that someone was going to tackle us. So he's still got that same motivation and same intentions. But yeah, come back and talk to me on June 19th of 2026, and if I haven't talked to Sat at the 50-yard line of a camp, then you can get after me.
Yeah, they were
That'll
doing
be my goal.
The one year Tuberville was the coach, and they were redoing Nippert. They had camp on the practice field, like what is now the performance, and then on Shakely Lawn. And Tubbs would just drive his golf cart back and forth from the 2 spots to watch guys, and we would just ride on the back of his golf cart from going back and forth from each spot. So very accommodating coaches here at the University of Cincinnati. I got to give them credit. So
yeah, they still have the prospects on Shakely Lawn, and I think it is awesome that Walt Stewart and Nick Cardwell take the same amount of like passion to these camps, and they're just like screaming at some freshman in high school who still has 6 inches to grow and like 40 pounds to put on. He's like, "You're soft." It's like you need to be better.
Motivation, man. I mean, you got
to set the standard.
If the coach isn't getting after it with you, like that's a sign that they don't think you're any good. It's that's true. You get on the dudes you think have potential. So maybe you don't know when they're freshmen in high school, but I appreciate coach everybody up. You want them to love the game and stick with the game. So, it should be. It works out just perfectly because I'll be out of town, next week. So hopefully, the story is always gone that like I was driving to vacation in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, like in and out of cell phone services, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and Chad was at a concert. And it was on a Saturday, and we're always like, well, then guys never commit on Saturday. They come for their visit, they leave on Sunday. Maybe they tell the coaches they're committing on Sunday, and then they put together their edits or their videos, and they commit sometime during the week. And he just calls me frantically. He's like, they're getting like 7 commits today. I'm like, what? And I'm like sitting there driving. I think I don't know if I pulled over. It was like, Rachel, you need to drive because I've got to fire off all these commit tweets that we weren't expecting to happen. And that's why he agreed to go to I think it was a Fish show. He agreed to go to the concert because he was like, nobody's going to commit today.
Yeah.
And we were both just in like terrible situations to be able to break any kind of news. So hopefully it's not a repeat of that.
Yeah, I've had some interesting pull over on the side of the road commitment stories. That's a pretty common thing that I have to deal with.
I had one. We were in our old house, So it's been at least 5 years. And I was up really late working for some reason, like very late, past midnight. And I just get on Twitter and some kid committed. And I was like, is this real? It's like Tuesday at 1:30 in the morning. And he sends out like a commit tweet, which who does that?
Yeah.
Who do you think's reading that at that time? So
yeah,
you never know with these fellas.
I think Cam Rutherford committed at 3:30 a.m.
Yep, I remember that one because I woke up like super early and saw that or something. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's early next week should be busy because if I would say they get an average of 2 commits out of the OV weekends, every OV weekend.
Yeah,
maybe they save them all for one of the
play
weekends.
I always play around and set an over/under on the board just to get people guessing on who it might be, and I don't ever know what the number is. I'm just totally making it up. It's not like I've been told we think we're going to get 3 and I set it at like 3.5 or something, but always just for fun to play around. So I'm sure I'll post that on the visitor thread, and some guys did take visits. You could take visits last weekend. Was the first official weekend. I think they probably wanted to postpone it just to make sure that the facility was as done as it could be, and that the recruits probably, I'm sure this played a part into it as well, that the recruits weren't seeing it before the whole team was.
And the boosters.
Right. Yeah. You guys paid for this, and you guys are going to get to use it, but we're going to show it to these 17-year-olds before you guys.
Who may or may not end up playing here.
Right, exactly. No hard feelings.
Yeah, but I think, crap, I forgot what I was just going to say. I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, it'll be a fun weekend. This is what I was going to say. I'm looking forward to seeing what the creative team has for like the photo shoots and videos. Because I think doing
anymore.
Well, they did them last year.
I thought those got outlawed by the NCAA or something.
Maybe that was just for like game day visits or something. I think official visits might be different rules.
It could be.
I think, but
I think it's official. I think you're allowed to do it with official visits, but as far as like just the regular visits for camp visits and that's the ones that you're not allowed to do anymore because they were having to do like the whole day was being consumed in the photo booth as opposed to actually visiting and seeing stuff and all of that.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be it'll be fun. It's always a fun time. A lot of action. Yeah. I try not to be hypocritical and like talk out both sides of my mouth in the sense of like I'm always excited. I'll pump you up and retweet your commit tweet and send one out with to get the fan base excited and all, but at the same time I'm like, tell me who shows up in September or whenever these guys show up at whether it's next January or in the summer. Tell me who's on the team. Like, commitment is a loosely veiled term anymore in this sense, especially with the portal. I mean, but that's just the way of the world right now in college athletics. So, speaking of which, do you have any good topics? Because I'm sure you're not going to be doing a nightcap tonight. Are there any good topics that you would like to discuss with us?
We do have a nightcap.
You are going to do a nightcap?
We do.
What, like while he's driving home from the concert or live from the concert?
He signed Keegan up for a nightcap.
Oh, he pawned that off on you?
That's breaking news.
It's breaking news.
It's essentially we're just gonna do your safety, the safety breakdown. The breakdown of the safety room.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, for those that I'm not stealing your nightcap, but good read. Make sure you check that out. Listen to the nightcap and learn a little bit more about square pegs and round holes.
Hey, and if you want access to the OV list, all the official visit content that we're going to put out after this weekend, my positional previews, all that stuff, 60% off.
Oh yeah, that's right. We got to pump the big sale right now.
Pump
60%
it up.
off.
60% off your first year for the best coverage of the Cincinnati Bearcats you will find east and west of Mississippi.
Now is a fantastic time to do it. I mean, we're going to hopefully have lots of commit stories.
Yes.
Lots of stories getting ready. We are, roughly 2 months from higher ground. I don't know the exact day they're going to report, but it's going to be very, very close.
Late July.
Crypt Keeper is all about your mustache. I think he's commented 3 times.
I don't know who that guy is. I'm thinking about calling the authorities to make sure that he doesn't show up at my house.
It is very much a Ross junior high mustache, if I do say so myself.
Hey, watch it.
Well, I was just gonna say, going back to the 60% off thing, if you wanted to get Keegan a wedding gift, essentially just get yourself a Bearcat Journal subscription for $40 for the year with that 60% off, and that helps Keegan get paid, which is kind of like getting him a wedding gift.
It is.
Trust me, it is.
So, wedding,
and you get something out of it too.
We're gonna, we've kind of talked about all the main topics. I don't know if Aaron has something, if Keegan's got something.
I do have something just real quick here. That segment is brought to you by Turtles Brew. We're just going to make sure we get the reads out of the way here before you switch topics on us. Turtles Brew, again, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, bourbon-infused sweet tea, great for those summer days. The flavors that you can get are cherry lime, raspberry peach, orange vanilla, lemonade tea, and strawberry mint. They have them now in the Capri Sun pouches. So if you're looking for something to take to the golf course, take to the ball game, maybe look a little inconspicuous, you don't have to put it in a brown paper bag, just saying. There are 50 locations that have it here in the greater Cincinnati area. You can visit turtlesbrew.com for more information and locations. And as always, a portion of those proceeds go to save the sea turtles.
All right, let's talk wedding. Band or DJ?
DJ. What are we talking? How much money do you think I got?
Open bar? Yes, no?
Have to. Yes.
Okay.
Bush and Miller Lite on tap.
Full open
only
bar.
Because you're Ross. Only because you're Ross is there that Bush on tap. You hill.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get an invite, but I might just show up now that I know what.
I'll tell you what. If you show up after 9:30, no one's gonna know the difference. You can come.
We had someone that wasn't invited. I had a friend invite an acquaintance as a joke, and he actually showed up at my wedding reception. I was like, Rob, what are you doing here? He's like, Dusty invited me. I was like, oh, that checks
makes
out.
Sense.
Yeah. Okay. So we got open bar. Do we have any special, like you got a Coney Station late night for anything special along those lines?
Graters. We will have an ice cream cart filled with Graters ice cream. I believe we're doing black raspberry chip, obviously, and also
cookies and cream.
No, it's either like a caramel, sea salt caramel.
Okay.
Boldy Bearcat might get snuck in there. Probably not.
I enjoy that. That's a good. Yeah. That's a nice little thing for the little surprise at the end of the night. What is, what kind of, what's the not the theme, but like the main musical ensemble? What are we gonna hear at the Keegan Nickerson wedding?
It's going to be a lot of typical wedding reception dance music. Like we don't try to make it that special. Play the hits, basically.
So like, are we going to get a lot of like the choreographed wedding song dances?
No, I don't think so.
Good. I'm with you on that. We told our DJ, you will take no requests, and you will not play any of like the cha-cha slide, any nut cupid shuffle. Like, do not play any of that stuff.
Here's my hot take. A lot of people hate that stuff, but as someone who is a horrible dancer, a simple choreographed dance makes me feel like I belong.
Well, you have 2 weeks. If you'd like me to give you some pointers, I've been called a phenomenal dancer on several occasions. I got invited back on a bus to Indiana at a Jimmy Buffett concert one time because of my dancing skills. We told our so our DJ, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have a similar thing. He was like, here's my website. You get like X amount of hours to pick songs. Just pick the songs and load it into the website, and then it'll tick down the amount of time that you have left, and then you can see how many songs you're getting. Yeah. So after we did that, we went and met with him, and he's going through the list, and he goes, "Wanna Be a Baller? Haven't played that in a while." It was a very, very 1996 to 2005 type music, hip hop, rock, everything type genre from our wedding.
So proud of you right now.
It was hilarious. I mean, people danced from the minute the reception started until they kicked us out. The dance floor was full. It was quite a party that still gets talked about when my friends and I get together.
See, I think I'm going to have, like, I'm not a good dancer. I'm not a big, like, go absolutely bonkers. But I have multiple people that I know are going to set the tone. Like, my buddy Rob from Indiana, he's going to be doing, like, the, what's the one where you, like, put your hands behind your head and kick up a leg on the ground? Like, he's going to be doing that. He's going to be doing, like, cartwheels. Like, like, every wedding reception, they put a circle. They do a circle, and there's one person dancing in the middle.
Clap it up.
That's going to be Rob.
I could
never do that.
Setter. Rob can be your tone setter. Yeah. Everybody's feeling out. Like, when are we really supposed to go turn it up? And Rob just, you got to tell him, Rob, just get out there, start grabbing people. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah. Rob, if you're watching this, and I have a sneaking suspicion that you are the tone setter. So go absolutely bonkers. And then Rob doesn't drink that much, but when he sets a tone, all my friends who will already be 15 Busch Lights deep, they will then match his energy. It'll be awesome.
So speaking of Busch Lights and Ross, my aunt and her family, the kids went to Coleraine, but they lived off Coleraine Ave, turn left at Rumpke, like down the hill, like basically Ross.
Yeah, so Dunlap Road.
So when my nephews were like playing Little League baseball, I went to one of their games, and I don't remember what the park was or whatever. I go up to the concession stand, and I'm like, I'm like, this seems odd. They got taps. I'm like, at a Little League baseball park. And I'm like, I go, you guys got beers? And they're like, yeah, what do you want? I'm like, Miller Lite? And it's a child. I mean, it was a kid. He's like, sure. And he just grabbed a cup, turned around, and started pouring me a beer. I'm like, this is amazing. It's definitely illegal, but it's very amazing.
Yeah, that was either Mid-America, Rumpke, or if you were way out by me, it was Wurzelbacher Fields.
I could ask him, and I'll text my aunt when we get off here, and she'll know, and I'll text you. But yeah, I was like, this dude is fifth grade, sixth grade, maybe.
Yeah.
Just pour me a cold one.
Rumpke has Astra seltzers on tap, and there's probably people that are watching this that play softball there all the time, and you just have the big 30-ounce plastic cup that you can barely even hold with one hand.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I was like, I don't think I've ever been to a Little League baseball game, like park stadium, not stadium, because there were a lot of different fields, but hadn't seen beers on tap before, and definitely hadn't seen 13-year-olds serving.
Yeah, that's why you move out here, people, because you can get draft beer wherever you want to.
Oh, that's good, but hope you guys have a blast and a wonderful honeymoon wherever you're going. You're going to Hawaii, is that right?
Hawaii for 10 days. I'm going to try to play golf, but I don't know if I'll be able to swing it financially.
Yeah, you only get to go to Hawaii on your honeymoon, hopefully once.
Yes.
and play golf. So, plenty of courses for you to choose from, I'm sure.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Turtle Bay, $500 a round. Might just have to do it.
Nothing. Kauai.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? I got Connor asking me Pacers in 5 over under. Well, the Pacers are not winning the series, so we'll just start there. I'll say Thunder gentleman's sweep. So, which for those that aren't familiar with the term, 5 games. I think
Caitlin Clark is not going to be there for some of the games, and people are worried that that's going to have an impact.
How exactly would that have an impact on the game?
The amount of energy that she brings courtside.
Okay, sure. We have a little group chat, and Aaron, I think, was it Aaron? Did you send the video of the corgi dog?
I did.
Knocking the basketballs into the down the stairs and into the little hoops, and it was Pacers 4-2, and I go, well, that dog's pretty dumb or something. Seems like a pretty dumb dog. I'm just bummed that they're gonna squeeze 3 games in next week, because I was really hoping to try to go to game 4, and we will be gone. So I'm bummed that they are going to put 3 games, 2, 3, and 4 all next week while I'm not able to attend, because if it goes 6 back to Indianapolis, that ticket's probably going to be a little out of my price range.
Yeah. You're a Pacers guy, I'm assuming?
No, I'm a Thunder fan.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not an NBA guy by any means, so but I am excited for this series.
I haven't really been, I was not, obviously, like, my age bracket, we loved Jordan, we loved the Bulls. Like, that was everybody was a fan of that. And then after he was done, I pretty much didn't watch any NBA. And then when the Thunder got Russ and KD, I started following them really more so when they got Russ, because they had KD when they were in Seattle for their last year, and then they moved to Oklahoma City and got Russ. And so I started following them and have pretty much been a fan of them since then. So, and I like what they got going on, and got 9,000 draft picks over the next 5 years. So we'll see what they can do with those. But people are down on the series. I think it's going to be a super fun series. Those 2 teams are going to get up and down, and I think for the air quotes ball knowers, I think it'll be a fun series to watch.
Yeah, I think I think the ratings are going to be down unless it gets to 6 or 7 games, because it's a double-edged sword of, it's less interesting because it's not 2 big market teams, but that doesn't mean that it's like gonna suck as a series. Like
No, it won't pull in the
it could still
casuals
very
like
well be a really good series.
yeah, it won't pull in the casuals like the Knicks or Lakers or would. But I think the basketball itself, I think, is going to be pretty outstanding. I mean, the Thunder have been, I'd say, pretty hands down the best team in the league all year, and then the Pacers are on an absolute heater in the entire playoffs. You know, obviously getting to the finals, so should be fun. Gonna be some late nights. Games aren't going to start until like 8:45. Almost 9 o'clock probably. So, oh well, I'll be on vacation for most of them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a full NBA game,
like in your entire life,
which is wild. But in my entire life, I think I remember watching the second half of Game 7 when the Cavs came back from 3-1 against the Warriors. Other than that, I don't think I've ever watched a full game. Yeah,
I fell asleep at a Cavs Orlando Magic playoff game.
When was that? 2002?
No, 2009. Because I was working at a golf tournament in Cleveland, and the tournament staff got a suite, and it was like right up to the tournament week, so we were all just tired as can be. And I probably drank like 2 or 3 beers and then just went in on one of the couches inside the suite and went and took a nap during the game. And I think it was the game. I forget if it was LeBron or somebody on the Magic hit a shot at the buzzer to win the game, and like the crowd going crazy is what woke me up.
Well, if it was, I think I remember LeBron hitting a crazy shot to win a playoff game, and I think I remember it being the Magic. Yeah. And then that was the year that he left, right? That was his last year? 2009?
Sure. I don't know. Probably. I've never followed the Cavs and haven't really followed LeBron, so I can't put years together for that type of stuff. But yeah, so no, should be fun. But we got anything else, Aaron? You got any? What's new in the world of college sports that is different from last week when we talked about it? Anything good?
It's been quiet. No, it's been quiet so far. We were looking for something even last night, and Ross Dellinger's been awful quiet. I feel like everything this week has been just people talking about college football 26 and Madden 26 coming out. I did find out that the blog for the updates for college football 26 is apparently going to be 40 pages long. And that's supposed to be coming out in the next couple of days. So that's absurd.
I think I saw that like Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt quarterback, he's like the headliner of it, but like his petition or whatever you want to call it to be able to play this year was denied today. Him and whoever else was in that like JUCO group trying to get an extra year of eligibility. Now they're sounds like they're going to appeal it, but that's interesting. I mean, you're a couple months from the start of the season, and you may not have your starting quarterback that you thought you were going to have. So, but
seems unfortunate.
That's where we are in this wild world of. I mean, like they're supposed to start paying millions of dollars in less than a month, and nobody has any clue on that. And seems like great stuff, if you ask me. But we talked about that. We talked about that a lot last week. Keegan, anybody that I don't know if you've been paying attention, but with like the NBA draft, anybody coming back that surprised you? Or I know what Boogie Flan is transferring to Florida.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Not really anyone that surprised me. I think trying to decipher from who UC is going after, and then trying to spend time on like who is significant to UC, who plays on other teams next year, is something that I probably settle into in like October.
Yeah.
Like
No,
right before the season starts.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm just, I know it seemed like it was less. It's been quiet to me. Like, I haven't noticed a bunch of traction on that. I think we didn't talk about it. PJ Haggerty going to Kansas State. I wonder if he got his $4 million that he was hunting for.
I said to Chad on the radio because he asked me that. I think that was Friday after the first baseball game is when that happened, or maybe like during it. But I said I really applaud Jerome Tang's strategy of waiting as long as possible to pay for the most overpriced player in the portal for 2 years in a row. Getting what was his name?
Coleman Hawkins.
Coleman Hawkins 1 year, and then PJ Haggerty the next year. Like, I don't know if that's a great plan.
It is certainly a strategy. Certainly a strategy. I saw somebody maybe in the Big 12. I don't know. Today, some foreign guy who's 21. I'm like, just going to be your typical 21-year-old freshman.
Was it Ohio State?
What?
I know Ohio State got some kid.
I know. I don't think it was. I saw that as well. But
Kansas State, Elias Erlepike, from Germany. 6'8", 21 years old, 15 minutes per game in the Euro League.
Yeah,
that's so wild to me.
The freshmen know who buy them their beers now.
Yeah, I mean, I know UC was kind of maybe floating the waters of looking at another foreign product to kind of fill out the roster, like a Halvin Zella kind of type player. So, I mean, if there's a popular trend of these foreign guys coming off the board at this time, you never know that could be something that UC is involved with in the next week.
Yeah. I mean, do you think at this point, would it be in the kind of like a stash and develop type situation, or do you think that there's anybody that realistically could play a contributing factor?
Well, I think the most likely thing would be stash and develop / walk on.
Yeah.
But like, it was also, they're probably not going to get Baba Miller. And then all of a sudden it was a 24-hour period and he's available and they can get Baba Miller. So I think it would mainly be a financial thing. I don't know how much money they'd have left at this point in the offseason when you look at the market values for a lot of these players. So, yeah, I would bank on stash and develop / walk on players to kind of round out the roster, but with how crazy it's been, you can never hold anything
right
out.
I mean, you look at the roster and we've talked, Chad and I talked about it. I don't know if you've been on with him or on the Monday show or anything and talked about, like, the construction of the roster just doesn't seem like there's room for someone that would look at who's already coming in and go, oh yeah, I see 15, even 10, 15, 20 minutes a night of available playing time. I mean, they have, I think they've done a much better job of, a Noah's Ark almost. We got 2 of everything, a lot more, defined roles, I think, that make more sense on this year's roster. So could they add somebody? Will they? Potentially, but it's hard for me to see it as someone that's like, oh yeah, this person's going to slot in over these 3 guys that we just added in the last 2 months.
Yeah, I'm going to use Noah's Ark roster at some point in the story. That's pretty awesome.
Can you at least attribute it to me?
Yes, I will do that. I'll say a source told Bearcat Journal.
So it's live. I mean, it's not a secret. All right. Well,
yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this basketball season. It's high pressure, high stakes because a lot of stuff could happen if it doesn't go well. So it's going to be edgier seats from game 1 to game 34, whatever it is.
I saw Kansas released their non-conference schedule today, so some teams are getting close to finalizing it and releasing it. They have quite a non-league schedule, which is not a surprise for them. But I saw Duke, I saw North Carolina, I saw Missouri, I saw UConn, I saw some other event that had no team listed, but I'm sure has good teams in it. It's been pretty quiet. I mean, feels like it's been pretty quiet on that front for us. I have not been checking the basketball board very often. It's kind of the quiet period for that, but could see some scheduling chatter in the next few weeks or months. Connor has supplied several talking points for us. We appreciate that. I think we're probably close to being done here. If anybody listening has any questions they would like us to answer, we would be happy to give it our best shot. But unless you or Aaron have any other major Bearcat or Bearcat adjacent topics to discuss, I think that probably wraps up our show. I hope Chad and Kelsey have a lovely time at their musical event tonight. Again, I have no idea who these people are or what they'll be seeing, but I'm sure it's fun. Yeah, that's kind of all I've got. So no one's jumping in, so we will wrap that up and say thank you to everybody that listens. As always, thank you to Keegan for jumping in. Thank you for Aaron for producing. Thank you to the Holy Grail. Thank you to Turtles Brew. Thank you to all Bearcat fans. And we will see you next week for the 482nd edition of the BCJ podcast. Have a great night, everybody.